Hello, welcome back to my playthrough of GTNH. It is December 29th, and we'll give this marvelous, beautiful beamline that unfortunately currently does not work. This is basically where I got to today constructing this, but we will come back to this. So for the weekend, didn't get a crazy amount done. I kind of got sucked down some rabbit holes, for lack of better way to describe it. One of which, so I started off or left off on the last video pointing out that I needed to finally actually upgrade my polyethylene. So for reference, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I've shown this off. I know I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but basically, even though we're all the way in UV, my polyethylene has been running off these LV machines with this old pyrolyzed oven running off of steam power. That's basically running off my old tree farm and coal coke ovens, like railcraft boilers over here, which I was worried there for a second. The second one exploded. I actually forgot I downsized this one at some point. But yeah, so these guys have been running since I swapped over to LV and MV. I kind of merged those two. I spent very little time in LV in this run through, but most of it was just setting up this this setup. But yeah, anyways, long story short, basically my polyethylene has 100% just been running off of this over here. Same with until I finally upgraded it not too long ago, my silicone over here. So the rabbit hole that put me down though. So over here in this building is kind of where I have like random fuel and plastic stuff going on. I decided to do the polyethylene. It's just this little setup. So instead I got industrial coke oven running off of the pine wood that's down below that I use for the start of the phthalic acid line. So it's basically wood into coal coke, into wood gas, I believe. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, wood gas, distilled, and then that gets us ethylene, which then comes over here into this LCR, which then gets us polyethylene. So pretty easy solution because all you need is literally ethylene and air, and that's all you need for polyethylene. Like it was probably... I didn't need to upgrade it, so I never bothered, but you can see I have 34 million in reserve right now. And then once this, if it ever backs up, we'll, I actually don't know why this isn't running right now. Out of wood. Yeah, I know exactly why this isn't running. Come down here to this guy. I'm betting all the chainsaws are out of power. Put plus, yeah. I was trying to mess around with having it output to a battery charger and then input back in, but I wasn't getting it to work well, so I've just been doing this manually. So it's a good thing to keep an eye on because, like I said, that's the start of the phthalic acid line, which is struggling at the moment. We're now using more lithium than we're taking in, even though I have lithium coming in from both industrial apiaries as well as mega apiary. So it's unfortunate that we're having those struggles, but then, so the rabbit hole that led me down though, so that didn't take too much time, obviously, though, was upgrading the power. So this building has kind of been the bane of my existence. It is, in the sense of, I did a really bad job of being efficient with my cable routing, my subnets, my power routing. So the thing I did fix this weekend though was my power routing. Now instead we've got more than enough amperage coming in, and then it's just swapped to the way I'm doing it now for everywhere else, where we've got running on a separate AE2 thing as to not waste a bunch of channels. We just have all the different floors. In this case, each side is only 4 of these are used. I set up 6 because I miscounted my floors earlier, but basically each side of each level has a correlating dynamo hatch on here. So power's way better distributed. I don't have any power issues over here anymore. Upgrade. I didn't put a taping one on here. I thought I did. Let me fix that real quick, because I do want all my Lapatrons to get these guys. Boom. Nice. Then down here, so I've started to run into power issues again, unfortunately. So I did upgrade over here. Why is this guy not running? Shut down. Eric and Plasma. That's why it shut down. I don't have enough plasma to keep it running. So this is a new addition. As you can see, it's not working the greatest at the moment. I might swap what plasma I put into here. And I was looking at the calculator. I have duranium rotors in here, but apparently there's different ones that are better for plasma. I don't have the sheet up at the moment, so I might look into swapping that and then just having helium in here or tin in here for the moment, because the Americanium's not keeping up. Either way, though, so I go back and forth on this whole setup. Like, when it works, it's great and keeping up, but every time I've needed to expand, it is really frustrating. Also, I've been slowly having to swap these guys out. Huge. Boom. And I wouldn't mind so much the way this expands, except for that distilled water is a huge pain in the butt. And also, to make enough distilled water to keep it all keeping up, you have to use quite a bit of power at the same time. So that's been kind of frustrating. So once I get the beamline figured out and have stuff crafting over there, if the compact fusion reactors take too long to craft or don't keep up enough to my liking, I may end up swapping over to Naquata. I know I made my first Naquata fuel thing, but I haven't actually looked into setting it up or how to go about running the Naquata fuel line. I think some of the byproducts are needed later, so I was planning on running it in parallel with this setup, but it might be a case where if that's easier to expand and keep up with the current power demands, I might make that the primary power and then just have all this stuff turned on as backup. Because even I was at 2 billion supercritical steam and gaining, and then just adding a single second XL turbine was more than enough to make it so that I'm running out of steam. So it really does not scale well. And I even added a second or third extreme heat exchanger over the weekend, and it's still giving me problems. So it's kind of unfortunate and annoying, but is what it is. Then throughout the weekend, I should have made a list. There was a bunch of random other stuff I took care of, just like as I'm seeing problems, I'm kind of fixing them and making them better, upgrading energy hatches. I know, I talked about it last week, but I continued the process of upgrading different, so when I'm pointing at this here, so down here, this is the platinum line, this is the monzite line, this is the other platinum metals, and then this is the netherite. So I've just been upgrading energy hatches and stuff as I go. But then from there, I kind of moved on to prepping myself for the Beamline. Like I said, it's not currently functional, but I did have to do some prep work. So one of the things was, again, over in this building, some of my channel routing and my power routing wasn't the most efficient. So I did change all the power onto a separate subnetwork, which freed up a bunch of channels for me. But I also added all of these machines, which these two are mostly because I misread NEI. So I thought, well, let me back up a step. The whole reason I wanted to even touch over here is apparently the most efficient starting item for the Beamline is this lanthanum hexaboride rod, which you need lanthanum dust for, and I had misread that This stuff, this lanthanite ND dust, if you electrolyze, I just saw the darker dust and assumed it was lanthanum, but it turns out it's neodymium and calcium, and then just a bunch of gas. So I turned these off because I didn't want to waste the power on it, especially while we're on the verge of power issues. But what we got going on over here is these guys, in theory, should be processing rare earth, which if it's all caught up, I'm actually going to put the other rare earth comb in here. Nice. And then over here, I added a vacuum or a dehydrator to further process the rare earth dust down, specifically to get this gadolinium Y dust, because this, when it runs through the dehydrator, it gets us the lanthanum. And then over here in this new building I set up, kind of went for like the black glass look. We've got the processing for that dust. So to get to this, where is it? Lanthanum hexaboride rod. We first need to get ourselves to some form of lanthanum hexaboride. And in particular, if we look, it's easiest if we go to the lanthanum oxide dust. We run this through the autoclave to get us, well, excuse me. So we need the lanthanum rod, right? So we want the long lanthanum rod in particular. The way we get that is using the flawless and running it through a lathe. To get the flawless, we can get that from an autoclave from lanthanum oxide dust and boron trichloride. Over here, these 4 LCRs are dedicated to getting going from borax to the boron trichloride. I did feel like I did a pretty good job of being efficient with the channels. Specifically, we basically have one dual interface here, which gives us both borax as well as hydrochloric acid, which then, if you were to follow the processing chain in NEI, we need to, gets us to, here, I can follow it back, this boron trioxide dust, but we also need to make this phosgen, which I probably said that wrong, which is simply carbon monoxide and chlorine, which is basically what this LCR is going on, and all that stuff, the carbon monoxide recycles itself. And then same with this, this phosgen doesn't, but the carbon monoxide does. So this is just set up so we don't have to, we'll never run out of carbon monoxide in this line. It perfectly recycles. So that's just how we got it set up going on over here, which then ultimately gets us, like I said, to boron trichloride, which comes over into this autoclave. This little run over here is specifically to get us this lanthanum oxide dust, which is just lanthanum plus hydrochloric acid into lanthanum chloride, which then mixed with some water gets us lanthanum oxide. Same thing, the hydrochloric acid is perfectly recycled. So similar setup on the back where we're recycling the hydrochloric acid, using conduits to move some dust around because the dust doesn't appear to be used for any other recipes. So this all is kind of like a nice little isolated thing. The only thing we need to put in is lanthanum, but I did waste the channel to set up a level emitter specifically because it seems like that lanthanum dust is going to be used specifically for black titanium, I believe, which appears to be something we'll be using soon. So I don't want to actually run out and like have to sit around waiting on the rare earth. And then this just a little setup is because this is going through the autoclave gets us this flawless hexaboride. But when we run the lathe, we get the dust, and the dust, if we run it through this guy, which is an implosion compressor, just set up with 2 input buses, because if we run it through the implosion compressor twice, we get more of the flawless. So it's just basically a quick little recycling to get us more of this dust. And this was also my first of this particular multi-block I made. My other implosion compressor, I guess whenever I make space stuff or heavy ingots, like I usually just kind of do that on the side. Like, for example, my Tier 7 ones for the Tier 7 rocket. Like, I'm not even working on the rocket at the moment, but I just got them crafted on the side, so I've never really paid attention to it being quote-unquote slow. Apparently this is a lot faster and better on pollution, which the area didn't get polluted, so I'll take its word for that. But yeah, maybe I'll swap out the main one with one of these the next time I go for some heavy duty rock or materials. But I believe the 79 I have should at least get me the tier 7 rocket for the moment, so it might be a little while. Now on to this guy. So I spent a good portion, or I should say a good portion of the day. I spent I don't know, probably like an hour or two constructing this guy. It was kind of a pain in the butt, and also I'm pretty sure I did it wrong because it won't form currently. So this is kind of a work in progress. I was following the sheet because there's a sheet specifically if you go to the Discord or the wiki that has a cheat sheet of the 5 different setups you need to get every product out of the Beamline. For the moment, I'm going for the version that has 49 of the accelerator parts or length to get a HPIC and PPIC wafers. Specifically because those are the ones that we need thousands of for the compact reactors. Once I realized you need 5 for everything, I originally kind of had this in mind of I was going to build this max length and then just assumed I'd be able to make all the recipes in it. Obviously, it turns out it's not that simple. So we're going to have this one kind of set this way because I think it looks cool. And then I'll probably try to stuff the other 4 with... I have to figure out the footprint exactly, but I don't know if I'll put them over here or over in the mass production area. But I'll have basically, long story short for today, is this doesn't work. I also calculated how many of the coolant blocks I needed. So currently I am waiting on those. As you can see, I need, it's coming along pretty well. Like I think I called for 400, but I'm waiting on these electrical pumps essentially. So this guy will kind of sit dormant till tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to work on it again tonight. But tomorrow, basically, I guess this will be the preview for tomorrow is I will get this working is the plan and then see how much faster it makes crafting a fusion reactor. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I will see you tomorrow with a working Beamline instead of this guy. Have a good one. Goodbye.